Imagine a city of gold and wonder, a place whispered about for thousands of years. A powerful land, more advanced than any on Earth, suddenly swallowed by the angry ocean. This is the story of Atlantis, a legendary city that has captured imaginations and baffled experts for centuries. Was Atlantis a real place, a magnificent kingdom lost to time, or just a powerful story told long ago? People have searched for this amazing city in every corner of the world, from the deepest parts of the sea to ancient deserts. The quest to find Atlantis is not just about a lost city. It's about understanding the secrets of our past and what we believe is possible. The first person to tell us about Atlantis was a very famous Greek thinker named Plato. He lived around 2,400 years ago. In two of his books, called Timaeus and Critias, Plato wrote down a detailed account of this incredible island nation. He said the story came from a wise man named Solon, who heard it from Egyptian priests, who had kept records for thousands of years. Plato described Atlantis as a huge island, bigger than Libya and Asia combined, located beyond the Pillars of Hercules. Today, we call these the Strait of Gibraltar, which is the narrow opening where the Mediterranean Sea meets the Atlantic Ocean. This location immediately made people think Atlantis was in the Atlantic, hence its name. According to Plato, the people of Atlantis were very rich and powerful. They had amazing buildings, advanced technology, and a huge army. They even had a special metal called orichalcum, which glowed with a red light and was thought to be more valuable than gold. Their capital city was a marvel, built with circles of land and water, connected by bridges and canals. At its heart was a temple dedicated to Poseidon, the Greek god of the sea, sparkling with gold and precious stones. This description, found in Plato's original texts, as analyzed by classicists at the University of Cambridge, paints a picture of unparalleled ancient grandeur. For many years, people thought Plato's story was just a make-believe tale, a way for him to talk about his ideas for a perfect society. But Plato insisted it was a true story, passed down through generations. He wrote that the Atlanteans were at first very good and wise, living by fair laws and sharing their land. They were descendants of Poseidon himself. But as time went on, the people of Atlantis became greedy and proud. They started to want more power and tried to conquer other lands, including Athens, Plato's home city. This angered the gods, especially Zeus, the king of the gods, who decided to punish them. Plato wrote that in a single terrible day and night, the entire island of Atlantis was swallowed by the sea, vanishing without a trace. This dramatic downfall is a core part of the legend. The Pillars of Hercules detail is crucial. If Atlantis was truly beyond them, as stated by Plato, it points directly to the Atlantic Ocean. For centuries, explorers, historians, and adventurers have focused their searches in this vast body of water. Early theories, from the 17th century onwards, often placed Atlantis near the Azores Islands, a group of Portuguese islands in the Atlantic, because of their volcanic origins and location. These islands, according to historical geography studies compiled by the National Geographic Society, align with some aspects of Plato's general description of a large landmass in the Atlantic. The idea of a highly advanced ancient civilization existing before recorded history is truly mind-blowing. If true, it would completely change what we know about humanity's past. It suggests that humans might have achieved incredible things much earlier than we currently believe, only to have it all wiped away by a natural disaster. This thought alone fuels the intense interest in the legend. Think about the sheer scale of the event, an entire continent-sized island, with millions of people, advanced buildings, and a thriving culture, sinking in just one day and night. The ocean floor is a vast and mysterious place, and it's entirely possible that secrets remain hidden beneath its waves. The deep sea, with its crushing pressures and total darkness, is still largely unexplored, making it a perfect hiding place for such a lost kingdom. According to a 2019 report by the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, less than 20 of the world's oceans have been mapped in detail, leaving vast areas completely unknown. One popular theory suggests that Atlantis was not a huge continent, but a smaller island or landmass. This idea makes more sense to some scientists, as an entire continent disappearing so quickly is a harder pill to swallow. Perhaps Plato exaggerated the size, or the story changed a bit over thousands of years. Even a large island sinking would be an event of epic proportions and could be the true basis for the legend. Some researchers have looked for Atlantis in the Mediterranean Sea. One of the most compelling theories connects Atlantis to the island of Thera, now known as Santorini, in Greece. Around 3,600 years ago, Thera was home to a vibrant civilization, the Minoans. A massive volcanic eruption on Thera, one of the largest in recorded history, blew the island apart and created a huge tsunami that devastated nearby coastlines. This catastrophic event is well documented by geological surveys, such as those published in the journal Nature Geoscience. The Thera eruption caused parts of the island to collapse into the sea, and the ash cloud would have darkened the sky for days. The Minoan civilization, known for its advanced art, architecture, and seafaring, suffered greatly after this event, eventually fading away. Supporters of the Thera theory point to the sudden, catastrophic end, the advanced culture, and the idea of an island being swallowed by the sea, as strong connections to Plato's account. However, there are problems with the Thera theory. Plato said Atlantis was beyond the Pillars of Hercules, which Thera is not. He also dated the event to 9,000 years before his time, which is much older than the Thera eruption. Still, some argue that Plato or his sources might have mixed up the dates or the location, or that the story was a blend of different historical events. The dramatic nature of the Thera catastrophe certainly fits the single day and night destruction. Another intriguing location explored is the Rikhat structure in Mauritania, Africa. Sometimes called the Eye of the Sahara, this huge circular geological feature, about 30 miles wide, looks like a bullseye from space. It's a series of concentric rings of rock, shaped by erosion over millions of years. Some people think its circular design, with its central core and surrounding rings, matches Plato's description of Atlantis's capital city surprisingly well. This theory suggests that Atlantis might have been a coastal city that was once submerged by water, and then later, due to climate change, the water receded, leaving the structure exposed in the desert. The Rikhat structure's striking appearance has led some researchers, like the team featured in the 2018 documentary, The Eye of Atlantis, to propose it as a serious candidate, despite it being on land and not fitting the sunk by the sea narrative literally. This interpretation requires a rethinking of Plato's description, perhaps as a metaphorical sinking or a massive flood event. The references to Pillars of Hercules are key. For ancient Greeks, this marked the edge of their known world, beyond which lay the mysterious Atlantic Ocean. Plato's specific mention strongly suggests a location in the vast unknown waters to the west. This geographical clue has driven many expeditions, including those using advanced sonar and underwater robots, to search the Atlantic seafloor. The challenge is immense. The Atlantic is enormous and incredibly deep in places. One fascinating concept involves a phenomenon called crustal displacement. This idea suggests that the Earth's outer shell, or crust, can sometimes shift rapidly over its liquid interior. If such a shift happened, it could cause massive land masses to rise or sink very quickly. Geologists generally don't support the idea of rapid, large-scale crustal displacement happening in a way that would sink a continent in a day, but smaller, localized subsidence due to volcanic activity or tectonic plate movement is well known. A comprehensive review by the Geological Society of America in 2020 reiterated that major continental shifts happen over millions of years, not days. Still, the idea of a sudden, dramatic geological event provides a mechanism for Atlantis's rapid disappearance. What if Atlantis was built on a very unstable part of the Earth's crust, near a major fault line or a highly active volcanic region? A powerful earthquake, combined with a volcanic eruption, could trigger an enormous collapse, sending an entire island into the abyss. This kind of event, while rare on a continental scale, has happened locally, such as in the case of the Krakatoa eruption. Another thought-provoking theory connects Atlantis to the Bimini Road, off the coast of Bimini in the Bahamas. This is a very unusual underwater rock formation, a long, straight line of large, flat stones that looks like a paved road or a wall. Discovered in 1968, some people believe it's a remnant of an ancient harbor or structure. The stones are huge and seem to be carefully placed, leading some to suggest they are man-made. However, most geologists argue that the Bimini Road is a natural formation. They say the stones are simply naturally eroded beach rock that broke into blocky shapes over time. Oceanographic studies, including those by the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution, conclude that while visually striking, the formation lacks clear evidence of human tool marks or construction techniques. Still, the mystery remains, and some people continue to believe it's a clue to Atlantis or another lost civilization. The story of Atlantis has also been linked to ancient floods. Many cultures around the world have myths about a great flood that wiped out humanity, or at least a large part of it. The biblical story of Noah's Ark, the Sumerian epic of Gilgamesh, and many Native American legends all tell of a devastating flood. Could the sinking of Atlantis be one such flood story, preserved in different forms across different civilizations? Some researchers propose that a rapid sea level rise at the end of the last ice age, around 10,000 to 12,000 years ago, might have inspired these flood myths. As massive ice sheets melted, sea levels rose by hundreds of feet, submerging vast coastal areas and creating inland seas. This global event, confirmed by paleoclimatology data from institutions like the Scripps Institution of Oceanography, would have displaced millions of people and created a lasting memory of catastrophic inundation. Atlantis, in this context, could represent a collective memory of prosperous coastal lands being lost to the rising waters. The idea that Atlantis was an actual, physical place gained a lot of traction in the late 19th century with a book by Ignatius Donnelly called Atlantis, the Antediluvian World. Donnelly argued that all great ancient civilizations, like those in Egypt and Mesoamerica, got their knowledge from Atlantis. He believed Atlantis was the source of all human culture and technology. While his theories are now largely dismissed by mainstream academics, his book hugely popularized the idea of a real, powerful Atlantis. Donnelly's work, though speculative, sparked a wave of public interest and inspired many future searches and books about Atlantis. He wasn't a scientist, but he was a passionate advocate for the idea, convincing many that Plato's story was not just a myth, but a historical account. His influence shows how deeply humans want to believe in lost wonders and hidden histories. Could Atlantis be located somewhere completely unexpected? Some theories suggest locations far from the Atlantic, like Antarctica. Before it was covered in ice, Antarctica might have been a habitable continent. This theory often involves controversial ideas about Earth crust displacement or highly advanced technology that could have existed there. However, geological records show Antarctica has been covered in ice for millions of years, making this an unlikely candidate for human civilization as we know it from Plato's description. NASA satellite imagery and geological drilling operations consistently show thick ice sheets covering the continent for extended geological timescales. Another wild theory points to the Nazca lines in Peru. These giant geoglyphs, etched into the desert floor, depict animals and geometric shapes. Some propose that the Nazca lines were created by Atlanteans or their descendants, perhaps as landing strips for their advanced flying machines. While the Nazca lines are a huge mystery in themselves, their connection to Atlantis is very speculative and lacks direct evidence. They are generally considered to be the work of the ancient Nazca culture, with their purposes debated but not linked to a lost, super-advanced civilization. So, what is the most logical way to think about Atlantis? Is it possible that Plato used a real event, or a blend of several real events, as the inspiration for his story? He might have taken a memory of a powerful ancient city that was destroyed by a natural disaster, and then added his own ideas about ideal societies and divine punishment. This mixing of fact and fiction is common in ancient storytelling. For example, Troy, long considered a myth, was eventually found and excavated. The enduring mystery of Atlantis serves a greater purpose than just finding a lost city. It challenges us to reconsider what we think we know about history. It reminds us that our understanding of the past is always growing and changing. Every new archaeological discovery, every new deep-sea exploration could potentially hold a clue, a tiny piece of evidence that reshapes our view of ancient times. The search for Atlantis is, in a way, a search for humanity's forgotten potential. But think about the incredible technologies Plato described: advanced navigation, amazing engineering, and possibly even a form of energy from their glowing orichalcum. Now, if such a civilization existed, it means humans achieved levels of sophistication thousands of years before we thought possible. This concept pushes the boundaries of our current historical models. According to archaeological findings presented by the Smithsonian Institute, major technological advancements in the ancient world, such as the invention of the wheel or sophisticated irrigation, typically developed slowly over centuries within known civilizations. The idea of Atlantis taps into a deep human desire for wonder and discovery. We want to believe that there's more to the world than meets the eye, that there are incredible secrets hidden just beyond our reach. The allure of Atlantis is not just about gold and glory. It's about the possibility of unlocking a hidden chapter in human history. It makes us question if we are truly the most advanced civilization to ever walk the earth, or if we are simply rediscovering knowledge that was lost long ago. The quest for Atlantis continues, driven by curious minds and fueled by the tantalizing words of an ancient philosopher. Whether it rests at the bottom of the Atlantic, hidden beneath the sands of the Sahara, or is simply a magnificent parable, the legend of Atlantis will forever remain one of humanity's greatest and most captivating mysteries. It will continue to inspire new expeditions, new theories, and new dreams of discovery, reminding us that some stories are too powerful to ever truly be forgotten. The ocean keeps its secrets well, but hope springs eternal for those who dare to look.